Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of the Road to the ProcureTech Cup. As you saw, I promised a surprise at the beginning of the episode, and hopefully I delivered for you. Really excited to have our intro sequence for the show now. So given we've had a bit of history, we can now put that thing together and get you hyped for the show that's upcoming today. Today we have Kodiak Hub on the show. The show's about educating you on procurement technology, the art of the possible for your procurement functions. And I'm really happy to have another SRM solution on the show today. So just to remind you, we're on the journey to the ProcureTech Cup, which happens in March, the big tournament with everybody that's involved, up to 64 ProcureTech providers that'll face off with your votes. And we're about halfway down the track here. Last week we had Canopy SRM solution. We've gone through intake solutions, procurement analytics solutions, automated sourcing, source to pay, procure to pay, and we've got another supplier relationship management provider on the show today. And so I'm going to bring Sam Jenks in. He's the Chief Revenue Officer at Kodiak Hub. We've had the pleasure of collaborating in the past, Sam, so thanks so much for being on. Would you tell us a bit about yourself and what you're going to be showing us today?
Yeah, fantastic. I feel a little bit like Steve Ballmer after that intro music, coming out and launching a new Microsoft product or something of the sort. Yeah, Sam, CRO, like you said, at Kodiak, been on the journey since the beginning when it was the drunken walk to where we are now as a scale-up that we have been. A prominent player in the SRM space. Looking forward to give some people a view of what we're doing at Kodiak as well and why we're a worthy contender.
Very cool. Very cool. And so just to remind everybody of the agenda, company overview for 7 minutes here, where we'll dive into a bit more details on what Kodiak Hub does, their unique value proposition, their ideal customer profile, who they do and hopefully who they kind of don't do business with, right? What do they focus on? And then we'll dive straight into the solution demo, the meat of it all. At the end, we'll come back. Our RiseNow co-host, Gabe Perez, is on leave with Thanksgiving in the U.S. this week. He's probably got his stretchy pants on already. So if he's watching, say hi to him and everybody else who's watching from the U.S. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving. And then at the end, we'll map the Kodiak Hub solution to our ProcureTech market map to make sure you see what it does in relation to other folks in this space. So that being said, I'll hand it over to you, Sam, so we can get straight into the content.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, y'all. Awesome. Little intro to us about Kodiak Hub, keeping the slides or the conceptual short so we have time for the demonstration. Founded back in 2016 by our founder and CEO, Malin Schmidt. Like most tech entrepreneurs, she founded the company because once upon a time she needed it. She's worked in sourcing, quality, and sustainability roles in global organizations and was fed up with the solutions that were out there. She was also fed up with one other thing, people like me running around in sales and marketing with our glossy CRM solutions and wondering, well, where in the heck are my tools on the buy side of things? We recognize that SRM has the potential to really elevate a procurement organization within their broader source to pay life cycle and processes. But unfortunately, this kind of, critical function is rarely filled with good process and good technology. We look at SRM within the pyramid. When we talk about supplier relationship management, we recognize that this is at various levels in organizations, right? Operational, tactical, and strategic. Also looking at it, though, from a life cycle approach rather than a subset of the source to contract focus, which of course can be the case. And I know that, Yoel, you share this view that SRM is definitely a life cycle approach, what we love to be able to see. Everybody's trying to reach the strategic value, and Kodiak's there to help our customers be able to do so, as well as then matching the operational and tactical things that need to get done on the way there as well. And I think that that's what makes our solution a bit unique within the space. But I'm not going to just talk about why our solution is unique. I know that maybe this is a bit faux pas to be able to show another market map on your show. One of those, of course, that I think everybody knows, though, at this point in time, the ProcureTech 100, and I think it frames very nicely who we are and where we are in the space as a best of breed in the supplier management space. And, third year running on the ProcureTech 100 and one of 6 in supplier management. I think the reason why we received this particular accolade, though, is because while we are at best of breed in SRM and SPM, we also have a lot of offerings within the adjacent areas and a lot of value to offer in the adjacent areas of risk management and sustainable procurement, which also makes our solution a little bit of a unique animal within this particular space. Who's our customers?
I'll just say Before you
please.
transition, Sam, I'll just tip the hat to Lance Younger and the ProcureTech crew over there. I absolutely don't mind. They're doing fantastic work over there.
All right, fantastic. Well, that makes me happy. Then that these slides won't get taken out of the recording then when it's watched back. But nice to hear you all. Who are we servicing? Well, it's strategic procurement professionals and global multinationals. I mean, our focus is working in supply chains where quality and sustainability matters. What does that mean is that verticals that we're working in are primarily energy, food production, manufacturing, as well as then also the process industry. We, unlike some of the other vendors within our space, but also I would say the broader ProcureTech, we are very focused on direct material supply chains. With that being said, we also have about 35% of our customer base that's focused on indirect material supplier bases as well. But here's the bottom line. These are the people that are the most powerful in the global supply chain, and our focus is to put good tools in their hands. What does those tools look like? We're going to get to the demo, so I'm not going to spend much time on this. The only thing I wanted to say is it's a box of chocolates. Our solution is a modular platform, which allows our customers to pick and choose the modules as they see fit. When it's broken down, it's really broken down to a few main pillars. The baseline functionality of the hub is where you have your classic information, data, document management capabilities. There's also a collaboration space and reporting capabilities there. The other two pillars of the platform are focused on feeding our customers with risk insights and those modules that are focused on orchestrating processes from the beginning of the relationship to the in-lifecycle management and performance for that kind of ongoing lifecycle management as well. Here we have preferred third-party vendors that sit as our third-party risk providers. So based upon simple data inputs, directly a supplier will then have a risk profile, whereas the modules on the right-hand side of the screen, again, are focused on helping our customers to manage that life cycle of their suppliers from intake to assessment to ongoing audits and performance. The other thing to mention is that we do have preferred vendors, but we also have a bring your own license methodology, helping our customers to integrate, other solutions that they might already have in place, whether that be for sustainability or financial or risk or alike. With that being said, I think it's time to transition over the demo. Yoel, did you have anything to kind of?
Yeah, I was just going to say, is that when you say bring your own license, so to speak, like you're connecting through open APIs, and adopting those data structures that might be a bit different from the ones you provide standard?
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to kind of our overview, we're trying to focus on being kind of the spider in the web. So data is flowing from a lot of different solutions, whether it be an internal ERP or data lake. Of course, then also our third-party providers that are preferred, if those are things that the businesses are looking to license, and or those licenses that they're looking to be able to plug in to our scorecards. And then, of course, the most important data is that unstructured data, the data that's typically lost along the way, which is coming from suppliers as well as then internal stakeholders, with the various modules, as mentioned, that are focused on the right-hand side here of orchestrating processes as well.
Very cool.
Great.
And I hope when you mention the box of chocolates as you transition to the demo,
sure.
I hope, contrary to a box of chocolates, we know what we're going to get when we learn the platform.
You definitely do, of course. The platform is no surprises from that perspective. But I'll let you be the judge of that. How does that sound, Yoel?
Sounds good. Let's get to it.
You able to see my screen again?
Yep.
Spectacular. So welcome to the Kodiak solution. For those of you that have never seen it before, it's online, software as a service, cloud-based solution, very simple open API architecture, as Yoel pointed out, which of course makes our capabilities to integrate very deep. The solution has a few main pillars, and of course, within the time frame of 15 minutes, I'm not going to get around to the end-to-end demonstration that we would typically be able to do. With that being said, if you're enticed, you can feel free to get in touch. When it comes to the pillars of the solution, they're really broken down into insights, which is where you are then able to learn more about your suppliers, your products and services, as well as then also the contracts that you're managing. You can also then drive impact with your suppliers. This is where you have your capabilities to manage assessments, audits, performance evaluations, and then also where that action space sits. And then the intelligence section where you're able to start building up broader reports of the supplier base as well. This, of course, is powered at the back end by a pretty powerful notification builder, as well as then the ability to be able to, of course, dashboard what you need to be able to see within the platform. And we'll get around to some of those elements. But of course, we're, again, going to be a bit limited on time. So I'm going to try and focus in on one of the main pillars of our platform, which is our scorecarding capability, where we believe that we're not only excellent, but one of the best in the market. So let's start with this supplier list overview. Here we can be able to see our supplier list, classic filtering and segmentation capabilities. I can be able to utilize this to quickly find, for example, suppliers and category subsegments, whatever those might be. Applying those filters along with other filters allows us to kind of build up that view of those suppliers that we want to be able to see. What you might see also is that there's an overlay of a rating methodology, and you're going to see that around the solution. This rating methodology is built up of an amalgamation of different ratings. So it's country rating, the performance rating, and then the compliance and risk rating known as our sustainable practices rating. This is then also an overlay to allow our customers to quickly see where our suppliers doing well or doing poorly in a vast array of different types of KPI areas, based upon both contextual risk, but also their individual risk, as well as then their real output and performance. When it comes to the filtering capabilities, you can also be able to, as a category manager, pre-save different types of lists, whatever those might be. You can be able to utilize these things to, create default views. Equally so from this interface, you can add data, import data, and export data from this particular view as well. Another way, of course, of being able to get data into the platform is not, of course, only via adding data here and import dating, but of course, pulling data from APIs within an ERP solution or a data lake. When it comes to another way to be able to get that data in, we have a feature for unsolicited onboarding and or intake. This is where our customers can be able to host, of course, forms externally, and or also we've seen the use case of hosting internally within intranets. So, of course, you reduce some of that maverick buying, allowing your suppliers to be able to sign up or internal stakeholders to provide information, for example, about potential suppliers that they would like to be able to start working with as well, pushing them into that initial then qualification or approval flow, which is a nice start to the journey in that case.
And Sam, as you're putting the score together, the supplier score, I'm guessing you can change the weightings, you can change the importance of risk versus performance, that sort of thing, right? It's all configurable, the form you're showing us as well, right? So it's stuff I can change, but that you have something out of the box for folks who might 100%. Not have a big SRM maturity.
Yeah, for sure. Getting a little load here. I think that the streaming is playing up on us, but once we load here, I'll be able to show you a little bit more about what is this kind of global rating underpinned by. So you see that there's 3 different loaded rating areas here. These particular rating areas can be weighted and rated against each other as the customer sees fit. The criteria underneath those are also then able to be built uniquely to the criteria that are important to the industry, category, or for example, vertical and alike that a customer is trying to address with their supplier base, whether that again be linked back to risk compliance or ESG aspects that the supplier is responding upon, the performance, gauging the real output, and that can be done via qualitative data from internal stakeholders giving feedback in evaluations, or from the hard data pulling over from the ERP solution as well, like OTIF, lead time, quality aspects as well, PPM, so forth, claim frequency, so forth and so on. And then the last bit being the safe source rating, which is then very important for double materiality risk assessments. Of course, this is a contextual risk rating, giving our customers a snapshot of what is the contextual risk in this particular country. In this case, it's then pinning with a business that is Sweden, and then you can be able to see the breakdown. This is pulling from 40 internationally recognized indices, things like the ILO, World Bank, Fitch ratings, and many others. So it gives you a snapshot of where this supplier has risks, or also where this particular country maybe is more stable than other particular areas. As you can tell, inflation is a real problem in Sweden at the moment. So it's it's not only dark in the wintertime, it's also dark in everybody's checkbooks here at the moment. The other things you can be able to see here is some basic data. So just to give you a quick orientation with the supplier scorecard, this is where you see your data, your documentation, your risk profile of your suppliers, the ESG and also compliance profile, the output and performance, but also this is where you're going to be able to set into action different types of communication, collaboration, corrective actions, and improvements with your suppliers as well. So simple data management, of course, you can be able to find the data that's most important to you here. You can be able to, for example, update data properties if that is what you're trying to do and you have the user rights to be able to do so as well. This is also then, of course, significant because this is where data properties that are updated can be able to push other users with notifications, whatever those might be. So you can be able to, of course, always stay up to date when things are happening with suppliers that are important to you. You can be able to, of course, dive directly into those individual scorecards from your notifications that you're getting pushed with as well. There's also like simple note-taking capabilities. So I can leave a note for myself or for another user. Again, notifications can be hooked up to that, driving that internal collaboration rather than just the external collaboration with suppliers as well. When it comes to
people are seeing you navigate these functionalities, like they, correct me if I'm wrong, but they should be thinking of this as kind of the center of a galaxy or a constellation of systems and data, right? Whether they're external systems, internal systems, it's bringing it all together in one place with what you have, right? So meeting you where you're at in your maturity level, and then helping you build upon that, right? Whether it's from a performance standpoint, onboarding, or sustainability evaluation, et cetera. It's really bringing that all together in a specific view.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. I mean, as we typically talk about it, this is your control tower, right? It's your cockpit. It's your guiding light for one individual supplier, and it's your workspace, of course, to bring that all together. Again, not only focus on the country risk, the performance, the sustainable practices, the data or the communication, but also some of those third-party risk insights, as you see on the right-hand side here. Documentation is listed within the supplier scorecard. Communication is listed in this scorecard. So we can be able to find things that are most important to us, whether those, for example, be ISO documents that, of course, you can be able to have expiry dates linked to. They can trigger notifications to you or to suppliers. Contracts, for example. And we also then have a link up with DocuSign here as well. So yeah, it's a very good way of putting it, right? Obviously, a lot of people have spreadsheets flying around, documents that are embedded in different types of share folders, third-party data here, third-party data there, a performance evaluation sitting in an Excel spreadsheet on somebody's desktop. We're trying to really, like you said, be that kind of center for our customers to be able to manage both individual suppliers, but also their broader categories of suppliers as well. Moving forward to just kind of some of the other insights, like I mentioned before, say that kind of know your supplier focus, right? Reading off of simple data properties can give then, snapshots of risk. They can be able to do so from a credit perspective, from as we see here, media perspective. We can also then have sanctions of politically exposed persons data. Based upon the simple search of an entity, you could be able to get up not only general information, but also linked information about different types of subsidiaries that might be important of a particular business. Here we've just done a simple search for Tesla. And we then can also be able to see special interest persons or politically exposed persons linked back to that business. I would say that the typical use case, of course, of these third-party risk solutions are not only to keep that ongoing monitoring, but also, of course, to be able to make sure that when the customers are utilizing our solution for onboarding and qualification, that they can have that third-party risk view of the suppliers as well. When it comes to these other kind of focus areas, the sustainable practices is an output of any type of assessments or audits that have taken place. So the individual data that's actually feeding into these particular areas is based upon, for example, the criteria that a supplier is filling in the assessments that a customer is able to build within their templates and roll out in their campaigns. There's a lot of great features there, drag and drop template builders, really, robust scheduling capabilities and drip campaigns and the like. Don't have the time to be able to show that off, but this is kind of where your holy grail is when it comes to the output, right? Our focus, again, is to show health of a supplier and show kind of where's a supplier doing well or doing poorly. So our customers are spending more time addressing the areas, for example, that are potential risk areas rather than those, for example, that are not risk areas with their suppliers. How are you doing? Sorry.
A question I had for you in terms of you mentioned it very quickly at the beginning, like a robust notification engine, because what I'm seeing here is like the potential to gather all this amazing data, right? But then you can become overwhelmed by having too much data, right? So, when a media story hits that's actually relevant, like getting a notification for that, but not having to go through all of the media stories as an example to figure out what's relevant and what's not. So how do you deal with that problem?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the fact is, of course, you need to be able to spend your time in the right places, and the notification capabilities are going to be able to help our customers to do so. There is some defaults, right? So when it comes to media, we do, of course, try and set different types of keywords with those particular items. I would say that, notice though on financials is always important. Sanctions and PEP is always important as well. And there can be configurations of that. When it comes though to the rating methodology, there's also ways though to be able to set up so that based upon whether it's a unique KPI or, for example, a particular section or an overall area, you can be able to set notifications to give you indicators when a report is coming back in from a supplier of an assessment, where is the risk area, where is the opportunity area. If we just toggle over, sorry about that, been logged in for a bit too long here. If we just toggle over, for example, really quickly to the reports area, right? And I check out an individual report that there has, for example, been a particular risk indicated to me. Well, here, for example, I can be able to view an individual report and see directly where has that risk area been. It's very typical then that the flags will then have associated notifications triggered back to them. So I can be able to quickly see, okay, when was a flag, switched from, for example, green to red? What was it that triggered that? I can be able to go into that particular supplier scorecard, check that out, and understand more about what the risk is of this particular supplier, for example, right?
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Cool. Going back a little bit to the supplier scorecarding capabilities, one of the things that is there is the collaboration elements. I think that our focus is not only to be able to help our clients to centralize the management of, third-party risk, compliance, and ESG and performance, but also to actually do something about it, right? And I think that's also when you talk about where we are in the market. Our founder likes to say it, procurement is drowning in information and starved for knowledge. So first and foremost, our ambition is to drive knowledge and insights, right, that people can be able to action upon. But she also has another saying that, we're not just telling time. We're not just trying to visualize data. We're also trying to help them build the clock and building the clock, right? And a part of that, I think, is also giving the tools to be able to drive corrective actions, drive improvement, drive enhancement, and to be able to do so from the same, interface of our solution that you can also be able to capture all of these amazing insights. This is our action space, and I think it's one of the pillars of the platform and the baseline functionality. It gives our users the capability to communicate back and forth, and this is an open portal for the supplier to be able to enter into, just like that interface that they are provided with in the assessments capability. It's able to be accessed via a password-protected email that they can be able to enter into smart links, which then they're able to host these things online and see what's going on. We can communicate back and forth, professional chat bubble, so to say. We can communicate and then also work through different types of sub actions. This can be able to be as you see here, light flow of approval flow as well. These particular actions not only can be sent externally, but also internally. So we can be able to have a RACI methodology that steers pretty much who's going to be involved in this particular action, whether it be a corrective action, a simple meeting notes, a collaboration space for improvements and alike. And then of course, the auditable aspect of this as well, which is very important for the budding legislations, LKSG, CSDDD, and many others. If you're putting into place some type of corrective action, you need to be able to back it up and say, what is it that you've done? What has the supplier done? Here, of course, you can also be able to request documentation, share documentation. Documentation is directly reposited, of course, in that supplier scorecard where you can always be able to just toggle back to super quickly as well. The action space isn't just limited to a single supplier, right? It also opens up collaboration and communication broadly within the organization. And it gives customers the opportunity to be able to, as we typically say, reduce the Bob effect. Everybody has a Bob in their business who's communicating a lot with suppliers. But when Bob leaves the business, you lose everything that he's been working on. This solution's trying to open that up and give our customers the opportunity to be able to have a broader and more transparent view of different projects that are ongoing, the things that are complete, but also those that need more attention as well. So the capabilities here are very flexible. We see the applications to be pretty broad. So it's a really nice feature that our customers are getting a lot of value from in that case. I don't have much more time, and I see that the time is winding down, so I want to be able to round off there. Again, our focus, building a 360-degree view of suppliers so that you guys can be able to improve upon your supplier relationships and ultimately drive performance and enhancements within those supplier relationships, spending your time in the right places while doing so as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Sam. I know SRM is a huge topic, right? So I think you did a very good job of going through kind of the different pillars that you guys cover in your original deck and then showing that to us in live, right? So all very good demo, and what I think it's time to get real. So since Gabe's not here today, I get the pleasure of playing the good cop and the bad cop today. And so Sam, as I was mentioning, it's a great demo. SRM is very, it's the constellation, or for me, it's the sun in the solar system of source to pay technology that I might have in my business. And so, all the suite providers also have an SRM or a supplier lifecycle management module. So, the tough question I have for you is, if I'm investing in a suite, or if I have a suite and I could just use that module, why would I use a best of breed solution like Kodiak Hub instead of just getting the module that's supposedly integrated with the rest of my suite?
Yeah, for sure. I think it starts with asking, is it doing the job for you? So I would urge people to look deeply into those suite providers' SRM capabilities. I think that anyone that's, a best of breed in our space is very capable of being able to integrate not only ourselves, but other great and worthy competitors that are out there that are also best of breeds. So, with that being said, tagging along our module to a broader source to pay is no worries whatsoever. We have customers that do so. And I think that that's pretty telling as well, that they're coming to us, users of other broader suite providers. I don't need to name any names. I think that most of us already know who those are. I think the differentiator is, of course, that 360 view that you're seeing in our platform: risk, compliance, ESG, performance, as well as then the ability to be able to collaborate and innovate. There's very few suite providers that go that deeply within the supplier relationship management space. I would say more so they're focused on the supplier information management, maybe that risk, compliance, and onboarding piece.
Cool. That's a good good response. Well done. So as we wrap up here, I'll throw you a flower that's in the chat here. So Jason, former head of SRM at Nike, saying loves that this solution is cutting through all the data floating around to help teams make good decisions and identify potential risks. Real challenge for many procurement teams. Thanks for that, Jason. And if ever you want to throw in a question there, I'll throw it back to Sam as well. As we wrap up here, just want to make sure that we help position Kodiak Hub on the ProcureTech Cup market map, so you know where it sits in relations to everything we're reviewing every week. So Sam, I'd give you the mic again in terms of how you position the solution on this map here, and where you're going, the integrations that you're doing, your roadmap, whatever you want to add in terms of where you guys are going.
For sure. Well, I'm not going to say AI. Everybody knows that that's what's on our roadmap, of course. There is a lot of features, I would say, coming, really focusing on our core, right? And I think that bettering within the contract management space as well. Those are some of the core elements that we're focused on. What is a supplier to you without, the ability to be able to manage a contract and the products and services that they provide? I think that that's also some of the areas that we're deepening our capabilities, which speaks to our customer base, right, on the direct material space. I love this map. Why? Is because you have SRM end to end, right? And that's the way that we see it. We see supplier relationship and also risk management as, an end-to-end focus. And we, continue to focus on being that particular end-to-end solution for our customers as well, to orchestrate processes, but also kind of be that 360-degree view. I think that there is some elements, of course, within category management that we touch upon as we showed here, but more so, for example, to be able to not focus on building a category strategy, but executing elements of a category strategy, of course, related to what is the content that you're focused on, what are the KPIs you're trying to roll out, and what are the kind of initiatives that you're trying to set into place. I think that we're helping our customers to be able to work with category management as well.
Yeah, and I saw it as like a great input into category management, right? So if I have all this data, it's organized, I'm able to get a leg up on my analysis and my data gathering for the development of a category management strategy. So I definitely saw that as well. Very cool. Let me just bring us back here. So as we wrap up the show, Sam, thanks so much for coming on. I think you did a great job explaining what the tool does, what it can do. So if people are interested in learning more about Kodiak Hub and what you guys can do for them, where's the best place to reach you?
Yeah, www.kodiakhub.com is the first and best place to be able to learn more about our product. We also have some pretty awesome click-through story lane demonstrations there that you can feel free to check out before you dig deeper in a demonstration with our team. always can be able to suggest to fill out the form there if you're interested in learning more. And of course, you'll get in touch with one of our very competent account executives that sit in my team that can guide you through and better understand, more so than anything, not demo our product, but understand your challenges that you're facing today and see if we have a solution to be able to offer you as well.
I like that. I like that approach. That's what it's all about, right? Solving the client's problems. Great. And then on my side, right, I do the same pitch every week, and I'll bring up my little QR code here. So if you want to follow the action for the road to the ProcureTech Cup, you can sign up to newsletter, the Pure Procurement newsletter. I see Sam testing it out here. Make sure it works. I have all the replays of every week's episode on YouTube as well, and you get those links through the Pure Procurement newsletter. That's a weekly newsletter you get on Sunday nights. On the consulting side, both Gabe and I at RiseNow and Pure Procurement help organizations put these tools in place, make sure they fit into an overarching roadmap and overarching strategy in terms of what you're trying to do as a business and how that converts into technology. And so you can find us there and reach out on LinkedIn as well. And I'm sure, Sam, you're kicking around on LinkedIn if people want to see you there as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and also we're always looking to guests on our podcast. So if you're interested, of course, give me a shout. Yoel's been on, so make sure to give that a listen as well.
All right, cool. Thanks so much for everybody for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. Thanks so much for coming on, Sam. Have a great one.